Kam nigad idatske.
What does this symposium mean to me? It means opportunity for us to continue to share collective history here in Cherokee Nation of Indian Territory.
It's an opportunity for me to learn more about my history as a Black in Kansas and becoming a registered member of the Cherokee tribe a couple of years ago. It's been an opportunity, again, to get to know myself.
Part of the reason why I started the symposium was to make sure that the Black Indian part of history is known, especially for the Black Cherokees, because not many people know about our part of history. My thing is we do need to tell all the Cherokee history. We don't want to just harp on just the Black part, but that part's always left out. So when we have events like this that are about Cherokee history and include the Black part.
With the Trail of Tears, the mission is preservation, education, and awareness. So we want to preserve of course, the memory, but it's also preserve the trails and the trail segments from which the ancestors walked or sailed.
Takatoka had been chief of the Arkansas Cherokees from 1813 to 1818, and he had been one of the main leaders against the Osages who started raiding the Cherokees as soon as they got to the west. And he was against Western education. He didn't like the missionaries, and he was one of the most conservative of the leaders of the Western Cherokees at the time. But Sequoyah went to his village, and his young men, were the first students that Sequoyah taught in Arkansas.
See, this Cherokee thing is serious. My real name is Ernest Carr Jr. My dad nicknamed me Bronco. And throughout my childhood, my grandfather he was a very conscious man, and he would speak the Cherokee language, which I wouldn't quite understand, but instead of using a word in English, he let me know that there was other languages. And so, quite unique. This is just the beginning. I really feel that eventually this will be one of the most outstanding events in the state of Oklahoma, celebrating the Cherokee heritage and all that it has to offer.
Don't want you talking to nobody.
They were singing Swing Low, Sweet Harriet Tubman, who was under the Underground Railroad, but they had to sing in code. And so you have that kind of influence that came in with the blues music. In the background, they had work songs that they did. And a work song would be like, what say the convict going to die? Prayer on his lips and tears in his eyes. He said, good Lord, have mercy. Ha! Good Lord, have mercy. Ha! And they would go like that, and they would work on songs like that. And the other ones were like, Big Leg Rosie, with your big leg draws, got me wearing prison overalls. Well,
my name is Amanda Kirkpatrick. I am daughter of James Noble Ridgway, and he is a Cherokee Freedman, and born up and raised up on Lee Street here in Tahlequah, Oklahoma. Related to a bunch of different people, a bunch of big family members, but married to Tammy Glidewell Ridgway, and she is the only single female Oklahoma Blues Hall of Fame inductee drummer. And she plays down at the Renniesville Juke Joint all the time with Selby Minner. Used to play with DC when he was alive. So CBHP means to me is the blended culture. It means community. It means fostering that sense of welcomeness to people, showing them Tahlequah, showing them the culture, not just Native American, but the Black influence, the blues influence, the white influence, all of the beautiful blending pot that it is. It's sort of like an open arms to the community, an open arms to the past, and kind of a blending to the future as well.
Hat is cocked and I walk with flavor. Flavor.
To colonize a place, you have to take over not only the land, but the resources, and you have to also gain the support, either forced or otherwise, of the indigenous population. Generally, that required killing enough of the indigenous people that it can be rebuilt into new belief systems that supported the colonizing entity, and colonizers realized centuries ago that it was really difficult to do that, to change those hearts and minds, without first destroying the communities and the beliefs of the people. Right. It is support for one another, it's care for one another, feeding each other's kids, taking care of each other, and giving encouragement. And unfortunately for the colonizers at this time, it also gave courage with the assurance that all you care for is safe. So you are free to truly focus on the defense of that community that you love.
History is vast, and so there's no one person that knows everything. We have people that are experts in their field, and I've made friends with several of them. So therefore, when I get asked these questions, I can reach out to them and be like, hey, got to ask something else I don't know. Help me out with this. So basically, I just pulled out my phone book and started calling people, and it's like I come up with this idea for a history symposium, and we're going to throw in some bands.
So this symposium means a lot to me because we're starting up something else that gives us the opportunity to share history. Cherokee history, Freedmen history, Cherokee Freedmen descendant history, all of it. And so I think that this symposium, starting up, this being the first year, it's a phenomenal idea. The setup's great speakers, great music. I believe that this will go a long way and help us spread the history in our story, the Cherokee story.
People got their land in groups and they started towns. So there's a history of Black townships in Oklahoma that's quite unique. When the Indians gave their freedmen land, Black people had 1.5 million acres in the state of Oklahoma, which was more land than they owned in the whole rest of the United States put together. And since this was not a state, it was the first stop out of the South. For another 20 years, there were no Jim Crow laws. My point is people got busy and they did a lot and they accomplished a lot. So this side of the map charts the professionals when the laws changed, the statehood, the massacre in Tulsa, and then also Jim Crow came in 1970. By 1920, things had changed, the Depression hit, and the people that moved here for opportunity kept going. The people that stayed were the people that had a lot of children or that were old.
When the movement from the east to the west took place, from the 5 tribes' homeland, moving west to the Oklahoma Territory, and learning that there were people of African descent that traveled along with that journey is just kind of mind-blowing, because for the longest, it was kind of something that was left out of that history.
Learning the history makes a change in you. When you research who you are, who are the people, who were the people that caused you to be here. Now, it's not always a smooth highway, a smooth road. There are a lot of bumps. And I have discovered that over the years, people generally hide the bumps. Anything that wasn't positive and fun, they just don't want to tell you.
Being a freedman, just the history and knowing both sides of my family. We have Cherokee. So growing up, I knew that, but to be accepted and to know the actual history and go back and to see pictures of my great-grandfather in the museums and in the Oklahoma Historical Society Museum, that's history right there. I just think about the Marcus Garvey quote, talks about the people without the history of their family tree is like a tree without roots. So,
Well, I'd just like people to know that if you're Cherokee, if you're Black, if you're not Black Cherokee, this is still part of your history. This is American history. You know, Cherokee history, Black history. It's all American history. It's important to all of us. It's if you know your history, you get to avoid mistakes. So without us going through our history and figuring this out, you know, it will hinder us moving forward. But it's really important and somewhat entertaining to be able to go back and see what happened. So just because you may not be part of those, you know, it's still part of your history. So come out, join us, be entertained, have some fun, and learn something. That's what it's all about.
Got 7 senses and psychedelic powers. I make sweet love for hours and hours. Woman in distress, I'm bound to save her. That is cocked and I